Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Don Cardaleone, and today we are talking about, I guess, Marvel movies. Marvel movies and the cinematic effect they have. They're not cinema. I wanted to talk about this for a while, and it's been a while since I've gotten some personal stuff out of the way. Just wanted to talk about certain things like New York and stuff, just because it's fresh in my mind. But supposedly, if you haven't heard, and if you're not a big fan of the Marvel movies, Martin Scorsese, director of Taxi Driver, which I enjoy. I enjoyed that movie when I saw it. What's the other guy's name? It's so unforgettable. That's why I don't fucking care for him. It's the director of Godfather. If I could remember his name, I would be able to let you know what his name was, but I don't remember. But they have said that pretty much that the Marvel cinema is not really part of, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is not part of cinema, like real cinema. It's not real movies, which is I find very weird because, it's like saying, say something that was written by a book. So I don't get it. It's just because there's drawings and pictures in a comic book, so that can't make that the book or the movie worth anything? I don't understand where that comes in, the aspect of not being real cinema. What defines real cinema? Feeling something for a movie? I've felt so much for most all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Guardians 2 made me cry. It's the concept of it's not something that should be deemed or put down as if it doesn't count. That doesn't make any sense. Why is it? Why? Because it did so well, and you're jealous of that? I just got annoyed with that because it's just it's redundant to say something like it's not real cinema. It's real cinema. It's an ongoing path. If anything, it's done something that you guys do yourselves, which is set up sequels and set up, an ongoing arc in a story. And I don't get how it's not cinema. I have all the respect for Martin Scorsese. He's made good movies. I enjoy the movies he's made that I've seen. I just don't see why this is something that has to be an issue. Like, why can't, even if you don't enjoy him, that's fine. I get that. And a lot of people who are part of Marvel Cinematic Universe have given that aspect of, he's entitled to his opinion. He doesn't really, enjoy them like, most people do. And that's fine. People like Robert Downey Jr. and Kevin Feige and, people like that, they, had give their opinion like, hey, it's not for everybody. And, I think the best reaction was Samuel L. Jackson saying, some people don't like Martin Scorsese's movies either. So I think that's something, especially something where Samuel L. Jackson does so much. He does drama, he does, action, he does sci-fi, he's Mace Windu, he's Nick Fury, he's it's just so many goddamn characters. Julius. I can name people that he's been in iconic movies, for days. It's just, he's Mr. Glass. Like, there's so many people that he's in, and, so many iconic characters that Samuel L. Jackson, he's a legend at this point, that he's had so many characters that mean something to people, and that, you can take from. And most of them are science fiction or, stuff like that. It annoys me that stuff that I've enjoyed all my life is something that doesn't count as a real movie. When they're decent movies, they're stuff that make you feel, they're stuff that has an overgoing arc, and you can enjoy them, and I don't get how it's something that can be overlooked as a movie that doesn't like other movies deserve awards and shit like that. What? Because someone, I don't get it. If Stephen King, who wrote a book, can get awards or have movies that have been critically acclaimed, why can't Stan Lee do the same? He, it's the same concept of you're writing stuff down on a page. What, because you have pictures to it? Marvel means a lot to me. It's what I grew up with. It's what made me, have morals and have a conscience to the actions that I make. And, with great power comes great responsibility was such a big deal for me growing up because it meant something to me. And to tell me that those movies that are taken from the pages don't mean worth shit to some guy who fucking directed, movies about drug dealers and killings and shit like that, crime bosses. It's just, I don't get it. What? Because it's not real? It's got to be a real thing. By that concept, it's science fiction, not a real subject. It's not a is Space Odyssey not worth all the acclaim it gets? I don't get where the line is drawn. A lot of people in the Marvel Cinematic Universe didn't care so much for that. I don't know why I'm not just saying MCU. I'm fucking retarded. I don't know why it's a lot of them are not making a big deal, and they're not, Robert Downey Jr. was the most humble, I think, about it, saying that, he wanted to stay very neutral about it. I think he was very upset or mad that he gave this whole, thing for 11 years, and this guy's gonna tell him that it's, ain't worth shit. And not to mention that he came out of, the darkness to become this iconic character that everyone loves, and tell some big director who thinks he's, I guess, doesn't enjoy it, it's not worth his time, I guess. And it's not anything on Martin Scorsese. It's just the concept of, it's just someone worked hard on that. And what, because it's something that kids read, it's not worth a damn? I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and that's what I'm always about. I'm always going to be, that's the main focal point, and I'll always be on this channel. Everyone has their own opinion. What's fact and what's opinion can be deciphered on how you feel. You could be triggered by something, but the point is if it makes you feel some type of way, then that's just your feelings. If, it's whatever. How you feel is how you feel. And, that's the whole point of being your own human being and free will and all that good shit. Anyway, I got on a rant about, free will for some reason. My point is that Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU, is one of the greatest things that I am just so happy and glad to be alive for, with what I love about those characters. They're characters that mean a lot to me, even characters that were brought to the light that I had no clue about. I honestly just, didn't care for Luke Cage. I didn't care for Iron Fist. I didn't care for, Iron Heart. I didn't care for half the people that I care about now. Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon, the Groot. Could care less about all those characters back then. I was strictly a Spider-Man fan, and Wolverine and Spider-Man. And I've always loved those two characters. One because he did what he wants. Wolverine was the character that I wish I could be without any conscience to, be the bad, rough dude. And then Spider-Man, who knew what was right, and I always say that when it came to being Spider-Man, I always wanted to be him as a kid, but now when I'm growing up, I think that would be terrible because of how much he has to juggle, how much he deals with, and how relatable he can be on his life. It's the concept of, I think Stanley does such a good job of making real life relatable to these characters. And I think that's what really, really does decide why I love him. Spider-Man will always be something in my heart where I love it, and same with Ninja Turtles. It's just my moral compass was shaped by those shows, by the 90s cartoon, the animated series, the one with Dr. Octopus with the bowl cut, and Ninja Turtles with the the really cheesy dialogue and the corny stuff. It will always mold the way I am and will be as a person, because I think it's what's right. Especially with how the world is. A lot of times it can be really shitty. And I really enjoy those characters, and to tell me that what Peter Parker does in a movie doesn't really worth a damn to you, it gets me mad, yeah, but it doesn't make me, boycott Martin Scorsese films. It's not how I feel. It's just the concept of, I'm angry about it, and I think, he's entitled to his right to say that, but I think it's stupid that you'd subject something, this is okay, but this isn't. It's the concept of, like, what we're dealing with race and what we're dealing with transgender and all the different LGBTQ stuff. It's just like, why is that okay but this isn't? And that's the thing we fought for forever, because people don't like it. You're not allowed to drink from this water fountain because you're a different color than me. And I mean, that's the concept of X-Men. The X-Men was an allegory for, being different, for being, whether you were LGBTQ or whether you were black. It was a concept of you were different from everyone else, and for that you were ridiculed, and that's what the X-Men dealt with. That's how it was relatable to other people. Wolverine was relatable to other people because they always have felt different from in a situation before. And it's that concept of, you will always have that feeling of, there's times where you feel like you are subjugated or, segregated from something, and it doesn't need to be that way. I went on a really big morals rant here. I'm sorry, guys. My point is that Marvel movies are, I think, as good as any other fucking thing, any other movie. I loved Heat. I'm not a big crime drama, bank robber, heist guy. One of my favorite movies is Heat. One of my friends showed me that, and I loved it. It's a great movie, Heat. It's such a slow burn, and it's like a long movie, but it's like The Dark Knight, where it's just so worth it to watch those 2 hours of a film, and it's such good storytelling. But, I mean, that's all I'm going to say, I guess. I don't agree with any of them. Francis Ford Coppola is the guy who directed Godfather, and I could care less. I've never seen Godfather, don't care much for it. I'm sure it's a lovely movie, but he didn't like tiptoe it around it like Martin did. He just said, it's not films. They're not films. Which, he can go die. I don't care. Alright guys, see you later. It's like, the experience was really weird to the point where I didn't really do too much. I didn't really have too much to do, but I think it was just more so the fun aspect of just being there in general was really